Mr. Dillon, good afternoon. Welcome to our forum. We want to welcome you at this time. And I'm going to make sure to ask the question this time. Are you saved?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I am not. I grew up in church, though. I grew up in church as a child. I was always active in the church.
Okay. And if you don't mind answering for us, you don't have to give a lot of details if you don't want to. But what caused you not to continue in the church when you became of the age to make that decision?
I mean, as I got older, I kind of, I kind of formulated my own opinion of the church, of persons in the church and whatnot. So that kind of, caused me to step away for a little bit. I think what kind of pushed me to the limit was when my grandfather died. I was kind of questioning God as to why he would take my grandfather away. So that kind of pushed me over it. Yeah.
Okay. I could still hear the emotions in your voice. Okay. You know that eventually we all have to leave this earth, right? That is just the way it is. But I do understand about pain because I myself have suffered through the loss, unexpectedly, loss of a close family member. And it did take me, I'm still in recovery, I would say. It's not as hard as it was, but there are times when the memory is quite painful. So we do offer our condolences for that. What do you think about the role of men in society? How do you see the role of a man in today's society?
Right. In my opinion, yeah, I think as men, we should be leaders. Not every one of us, really actually step up to the plate and, and can carry through somewhat. I have a 13-year-old son, yeah?
Okay.
Son, I always try to instill principles that my dad and my granddad has taught me over the years into him, yeah? Basically, you should always take responsibility for your actions. Whatever actions that you should always stand up for it, take responsibility for it, step to the front, be a man about it, because that's how I was brought up. You know what I mean? Society kind of dictates to you how a man should live his life, yeah? For example, if you are a non-Christian, if you're single or whatnot, you can do whatever you want to do. But once you decide that you are going into the church, it doesn't matter what denomination it is, certain things becomes taboo somewhat. Yeah, it is not talked about widely, it's not acted upon. It's like, say, for example, you want to have a drink at a bar, yeah? It is taboo to drink at a bar because you are a Christian. Say for example, your pastor might pass and see you drinking from the bar, or another church sister might pass and see you drinking from the bar. It's like, what is Kenny doing at the bar though?
Right.
But they have no idea what transpired or what led up to you being at the bar in the moment. And then you are looked upon, you're shunned, you're talked about in church and whatnot. So that's kind of a deterrent for most men. Young men somewhat to actually join the church, yeah? But withstanding that, where leadership is concerned, as men, we have to, as I said before, step to the plate. If you have no idea what to do or how it is done properly, find a mentor, yeah? Find somebody who you look up to. Find somebody who you can talk to on a daily basis, get some insight on life from that person. That I am pretty sure that person will not lead you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, because sometimes you do know that happens. People steer you the wrong direction.
Definitely.
You mentioned something just now about men being turned off from coming into the church because I'm going to use the word judgmental. The church may be more judgmental in their view. You can't do this, you can't do that. If they see you doing it, you're written off or you're talked about or something. And I find that to be very interesting because that's one of the problems that we have in the church, where we do not have a proportionate amount of men, especially men that are willing to be in the leadership. Apart from the pastor, they don't mind preaching. But, as far as mentorship, as far as outreach, evangelism and stuff like that. So when you touch on that, you got my interest. Is there anything else that you think would stop a man, from wanting to be a part of a church body?
In terms of not wanting to be, all right, I have friends who used to be Christians, yeah, they grew up in the church like myself, yeah, and the number one reason that they give for not staying or not wanting to go back, apart from the being judgmental and whatnot, they wanted to do things on their own. They wanted to find things out. They wanted to, experience the world as it is. Without, the perspective of the church.
Because that's one of the things that we all puzzle over as women, especially the women. How can we get men to come into the church? But I believe personally that the Holy Spirit convicts. And when the Holy Spirit convicts you, you're not going to be comfortable doing anything else. But I still want to know how the church perceived, because a big part of rebuilding our men will involve a community of believers, which is what the church is. Which is why that question was asked. What do you see as some of the obstacles in society as it is today? Let's use Jamaican society, for example, for the men to really stand up. Why do you think we are having so many issues, with our men as far as it relates to the women, as far as it relates to, just being able to stand up in society and do the right things?
Basically, I think it has to do with the way how we are oriented as people, yeah? Growing up, I can always remember growing up, my granddad and my grandma always tried to say to me, boy, listen, you got to go to church on Sunday or Saturday or whichever day of the week, yeah? You have to, when you go to church, you have to sit a particular way, you have to talk a particular way, you have to act a particular way. But there are outside influences. Once you leave the church ground, there are outside influences that kind of detracts from that. There's so much, there is so much distractions outside of the church to, to waver your mind so much, to have you second guessing yourself, not following through. So what I think that the church and the pastors and the evangelists and the deacons and deaconesses should do, or do more of, per se. I know that some persons are doing it, and some persons are not really, that's fine. Do a little bit more community outreach. Even if you get rejected by 90% of the population, do not stop. Do not stop. Never stop. Do not stop. Under no circumstances should you stop. You can't bother today, because I talked to John Brown last week and I not see him make no effort. Go back and talk to John Brown again.
Amen.
If you talk to John Brown today and you see John Brown do the same thing tomorrow, talk to John Brown again. John Brown might have different circumstances or different issues dealing with on a day-to-day basis. You might not be, you have no idea what John Brown is dealing with. You decided that you're going to give up on John Brown today because you talked to him yesterday about the same thing. It's like you have a child, yeah, and you realize that the child is slacking off on certain things around the house somewhat. Say, for example, you give a child a chore, and you have to tell the child that you have to do the chore tomorrow at the same time, in the same particular way. And 2 days pass, you haven't spoken to the child in regards to the chore. What do you think is going to happen?
Gonna stop doing it.
Exactly, they're going to stop doing the chore. That's where it comes in.
For that one.
Exactly. That's where it comes in. You got to follow up. Always follow up. Even if it might not seem like you're getting through to the person, always follow up with that person. You might not know if that today will be the day that person will say, all right, then, we're going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it over with and get it done. That's just it. Obstacle number 2. Distractions. I think as men, we're more easily distracted than women. Yeah, we are. Honestly, I am somewhat distracted quite easily sometimes. Sometimes I focus, another time I get distracted very easily, especially if I am doing something that requires my undivided attention at times. Yeah, because I have kids, as I've said, I have kids, and I always have to be like back and forth and stuff. So
you can't walk and chew at the same time?
Well, I mean, that's the next thing. No, we have to learn to multitask. As men, we have to learn how to multitask. Yes. As men, we have to learn how to multitask. Listen, brothers, the women are winning.
Oh, yes.
Women are winning at multitasking. We have to learn how to multitask.
Yes.
Basically. So, you know what I mean? And as men, we should definitely read more.
Yes.
I heard Kurt mention it earlier. Mr. Dixon, sir, I heard you mention it. I'm going to laud you on that. We have to read more. Read more, find out things for ourselves, not take any, second-hand answers to a question that you should probably find out for yourself. Dig deep and find the answers. Go back to your roots somewhat. Ask your mom, your dad, your granddad, whoever is there before you. Find out how they cope with a particular situation. Because everything that we're facing now is not new.
Exactly.
It's not new. It has been happening since forever.
Yes.
And our parents, they coped, they went through it, and they coped, they came through with the scrapes and the bruises, and they're still there. Why can't we?
Right.
We have to learn to do the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. How do you, I don't know if you're married or dating or engaged, but I would ask you the same question I asked a previous young man. How do you relate, to the woman in your life? Or if you don't have a special someone, what is it that you will look for? Because we have to start at the beginning, when we're having all these relationship dispute, murder, suicide, stabbing up and all of this, I believe we should go back to the start. What is it that you personally will be looking for in a mate?
All right, basically, before I get to the last part of the question, in every relationship, it doesn't matter the nature of the relationship, communication is key.
Yes.
As a people, we do not communicate nearly enough. Or communicate properly, I should say.
Right.
Nearly enough. Yeah. I mean, we talk and we have discussions and we argue and whatnot, but when our true feelings come into play, communication is not there. 100%.
Exactly.
I can tell you that, yeah? All right. So for me now,
men don't like to talk. That's what we have been told. Men don't like to talk.
Well, I could be a prime example because I am an introvert somewhat, yeah? But I still find the time to, indulge in meaningful conversations here and there. But all right, so if I back to the first part of the question now, what do I look for in a mate? Wow. For me, my ideal mate has to be able to, as I mentioned, communicate on a cellular level. We have to be able to have deep, meaningful conversations. That's me. If the conversation is not meaningful, if it's not just a regular hi and bye, here we go, that's really not for me. That is really, really not for me. I like mind-stimulating conversations. I like to read. I like to, express myself here and there in various different forms, yeah? So if my mate cannot communicate or express herself on a level. There are things that I might, be able to overlook somewhat. For example, if she's not, beautiful enough, or if she doesn't have all the assets in the world. Well, that is fine. That is fine. But it's what comes from within. That's for me. What comes from within, how you carry yourself on a day-to-day basis, how you respond to others, yeah? How you treat other persons in your surrounding, how you how you talk about family. If because listen, man, I love my family. I love my family. Kamisha will tell you. I love my family. So family is a huge thing for me.
Yes.
So if we cannot, discuss stuff like that, if we cannot negotiate somewhat per se, if we cannot have that level of respect and understanding for each other, it really makes no sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this whole thing of giving a woman a car, we heard, I don't know if it's true or not, let me just say allegedly, the 50-year-old man that killed that young 20-year-old woman, it is alleged that he was buying her a lot of expensive gifts, which I know many times in relationship, this is what men do. What are your personal thoughts on those things? You're wooing a woman, or you're courting a woman, or as an old-fashioned word, I know, I'm dating myself, but you're buying all these expensive things. How do you view that?
All right. One thing my mother used to tell me, and I think she got it from the legend himself, the king of reggae, Bob Marley. Money cannot buy love.
That's right.
Money can't buy love. You can give your partner all the material things in the world. Yeah?
Yes.
You could, if the relationship is going south, if things are getting sour, she's going to step away. Likewise, if it's a female that's doing the giving, the male is going to step away. That's where communication comes into play.
Yes.
If you're not comfortable in a relationship, say it to your partner, like, listen, dude, or whatever you want to call your partner, or babes, or honey, or whatever. I am not comfortable with this. I cannot do this anymore. If that person decides that, all right, then fine, we cannot do it anymore, what are we going to do? Are we going to try to fix the relationship? Or are we going to go our separate ways? Gentlemen, please. Gentlemen, please. If the ladies want to leave, let them leave. Thank you very much. Let them go. Because, watch this now. As Kurt mentioned earlier, you hurt a female, you go to prison. That female survives the hurt. She's still here. What do you think is going to happen? When you get back from prison, do you think she's going to come to us? Oh, you come back from jail, I'm here now. Nah, bro, that will never happen. That will never happen. Yeah. So money can't buy love. Do not try to buy a person's affection with material things. That will not work.
Yes.
That will not work.
Do you have any traumatic experiences that you have been through as a younger man, as a child, or a younger man growing up, that has affected the way you view life and your role as a man? And it could be single parent, as I said before, single parent home, something that happened in an earlier, first love and whatever happened, that do you think that has impacted you as a man, and it would affect how you view your role in society?
All right. In terms of traumatic experiences, at one point I would have said yes, but I am grown. I am grown, and I have learned to accept things for what it is. Yeah, I've learned to accept that not everyone who comes in your life is here to stay forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. Even if you're married to the person, at one point, either you or that person is going to transition for some reason. You know what I mean? So I have learned to, you know what I mean, roll with the punches. I've been in circumstances, I've been in relationships where me and my partner had to part for different circumstances. Yeah. Under different circumstances. It's either we weren't seeing eye to eye or we weren't compatible with each other. Yeah. Because that's a big part of everything. You have to know that you're compatible with your partner.
Yes.
Yeah. Has it affected me as to how I view my role in society? I would say no.
Okay.
Why? Because I have to always be on point where my child is concerned. I have to, even if I am hurting from a previous relationship, I still have to put on a front, I still have to put on a brave face. Listen, this is what you do. You just brush off and move on with your life. That's just it. Yeah.
What are some, well, we talk about the challenges already. Would you be willing to provide, even though I know you're not in church, you're not a Christian at this point in time, but in as much as what you yourself have learned from and grown from, would you be willing to provide this type of mentorship to another young man in the community, maybe a child that is a single mother household, the father is not there or the father is not there often, or somebody that you see that is struggling? Is that something that you'd be willing to do, and if not, why?
All right, that is something that I'm already doing. Yeah, I am the president of a non-profit organization in my community. We do outreach programs. We do try to, reach as many persons as possible who are affected by domestic violence, sexual abuse, displacement, the works. Yeah. As the president of that organization, it is my duty to get to know everybody in my community.
Yes.
So, I am always out there. I'm always talking to persons. Persons can always call me. They can text me. They can reach me. They can even walk into my yard and, yo, Kenrick, what's up, bro? This is that. And just tell me. I am always willing to listen. That's just me.
Okay. I'm
always willing and ready to listen to anything that anybody has to say. As long as it's, something that is worthwhile. Because most time persons, they would just want to talk about random stuff. They don't want to have the time to listen to that. But sometimes, even when a person wants to talk about random stuff, it is always good to listen, because you might not know what that person is going through.
Exactly.
I mentioned earlier. Yeah, as I meant, yeah.
Because you could link up with our Evangelist Schooler after this program, because this is something that the Lord laid on our heart, as I said before, to reach out to the young men, to men, not young men only, to men, to see what we can do to give men a platform where they can take off their mask. In other words, you don't have to be muzzled. Speak out, and any assistance that we can provide. Now, yes, we are Christian based, but at the same time, we work with everybody. So she has a Reason from Abuse group in which a lot of the people there have suffered, whether sexual, physical, whatever trauma, and they are coming out of it. And it's a platform to assist in, coming up and being able to fit into society after traumatic events. And so I think this would be a good link, because we want to reach as many men as possible. If we can reach somebody before the thought becomes an action, for example, or we can reach somebody that's young and coming up and living in a gang-infested area, that's what they know. This is where we are trying to aim as much as possible. So that, I think, would be a very profitable link up, for both of you to do. And you can invite somebody over that you think would benefit from Saturday night heart-to-heart talk. Give us some ideas of topics that men want to talk about from what you are hearing on the street, word on the street. Because we're not trying to reach a church. We are trying to reach the ones that need the help.
So
definitely.
Definitely. I am always open to collaborations and whatnot. That has been my strong suit forever since. I'm always open to collaboration.
Okay.
I'm always open to collaborations and whatnot. Yeah. So if Evangelist Schooler wants to, link up and do some stuff, then I am all ears and hands and here.
Yes. We want to deal with anger issues, whatever it is that drive, also unemployment or underemployment for our men, because all of these things influences, the way they view the world and the way they react to certain stresses. And you brought up communication, which is so important, and real communication, not just surface stuff, especially between couples. How you are handled on the job. How do you feel about the job market availability in Jamaica as a man? How do you feel? I'm not talking now for the professionals. If you are a profession, there are some professions you're going to find a place. Anything in the medical field, for example, you're going to find a place. That's easier. A teacher. But what about the skill, like a plumber, electrician? Yes, you're going to find something. But outside of those fields, what do you think the job market is like in Jamaica, and how does that impact men as leaders?
All right. Basically, the job market outside of traditional jobs is in shambles. That is my take. That has always been my take. Right now, it is definitely in shambles somewhat. I heard Kurt mention earlier that we should get the guys and the females to get skills and whatnot. But what if it is a situation where that person or persons cannot go through say for example, a hardships to get a skill, yeah? What I'd like to see is, the government and church and all the stakeholders, yeah? We try to go into these communities. We try to, build, or if it was even a tent, have one-on-one sessions with persons in the communities, yeah? Talk to them, see what they want to do with their lives, inquire, push them to be the best versions of themselves. Because what I have noticed since January of last year, yeah, is that more and more females are becoming entrepreneurs.
Yes.
More and more females are becoming entrepreneurs. 2020, I said 2020 was the year for females. All females, they came out. Trust me, the women, they came out. And they came out in numbers, from selling hairs to lashes to doing this and that. They did every single thing that there was to be done, yeah? And most of us men, we kind of took the back page. And I was saying to myself, why? Yeah, I know we're living in the 23rd century, yeah, where gender equality is on the rise. Women are stepping to the front. And that's a good thing. Women are stepping to the front. They're taking over traditional jobs. Yeah. As men know, it is our job, it's our responsibility to remain on par. Yeah, we have to stay the course, as my high school principal used to say. We have to stay the course. Yeah, stay the course, veterans. Stay the course. If you cannot get a traditional job, it is always good to learn something. If you cannot learn a skill, there are so many free, and I said the word free, and I said this to my son a couple of days ago. There are so many free online learning sites that you can go to learn something. Even though not everyone has access to internet or a device to go on the internet or whatnot. But there are so many online sources that you can learn something from. For example, I went from being an entertainment coordinator when the hospitality industry crashed last year. Yeah? I went from that to hosting online programs to becoming a fitness instructor, all in the
Praise God.
1 year. And I did
Yes.
most of that online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I can help one youth, whether it be a male or a female, it doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, if I can help one person to achieve his or her goals per month, I am good. I'm not limiting myself to say I'm going to just do one, but if I can help one person to achieve his or her goals per month, I think I would be doing something great.
Very good. Last question before I turn over to our Evangelist Schooler. What would you say to the men out there that are disappearing fathers? Disappearing fathers. Whether they're disappearing because of lack of finances, they are no longer with the woman. What is it that I still think, even if you can't buy a lot of, you still should be in your child's life. But how would you address from man to man disappearing fathers?
As my grandma used to say, granny used to say, because listen, man, I have so many stories of my grandparents. Yeah, as my grandmother used to say, you see, as a man, if you breed people, girl, pitney, remember say, whatever you can do, yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have no money, if you can sit and talk with your child for 5 minutes per day, that's the least you can do. Spend as much time with your child as possible. Because what? Kids live what they learn, yeah? And if a child's father is not in the picture, that child is going to grow. And say, for example, it's a boy, and you get a girl pregnant at 15 or 16, he has no idea what to do because what? He was not taught how to take care of his responsibility. So as men now, yeah? As men, I implore the men who are on this live stream, the ones on Zoom, the ones on Facebook, as you're streaming on Facebook. Gentlemen, brothers, I'm talking to you directly now, yeah? Spread the word, man. Step to the plate, take care of your responsibilities. It doesn't matter what it is. As I said, if you're not in a position to take care of your child financially, you can talk with your child. Whether by phone, face-to-face, take the child to the park, play a little ball, whatever it is, spend as much time with your child as possible.
Thank you very much. Very much. Very well said.